At that time, Yahushua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Matthew chapter 11, verse 25. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadash. Double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and today is the 13th, all right, of January already, all right, in the second week of January. All right, and it feels like the first was just like it was like yesterday, right? January 1st was just yesterday, and we're already on the 13th day. All right, so that's already an indicator that there's going to be a very quick year. All right, 2026 is going to go by very, very fast. All right, but it's going to be jam-packed with a lot of prophecies. Okay, and we hope and pray, Lord willing, that this be the year where that one major prophecy that we're waiting for, which is the mandatory implementation of the MOTB, we pray that this be the year, all right, that these governments around the world make it mandatory. Okay, and speaking of that, you have on the 19th, all right, which is, next few days, all right, I believe next week, Monday, all right, which is a very pivotal day, all right, Martin Luther King Day, so on and so forth, but it's going to be the meeting of Davos 2026, all right, they're going to be having their annual meetings, all right, up in Switzerland, all right, and of course, the talking point, or one of the talking points or focus points, is going to be the implementation of the CBDCs. Okay, now once that system is set up all across the world, all right, the MOTB is right after that. Okay, the MOTB is going to be right after that because they need this infrastructure to be up in order for the MOTB to work. Okay, the whole technological upgrades and so on and so forth. Okay, but I also have an article which I want to focus on, all right, because it pretty much covers everything like it always does. All right. But it says here how global instability is preparing the stage for prophetic alignment. Okay, so the most important, again, like I said, the most important prophecy that we're waiting for before the destruction of this place is the implementation of the MOTB. Okay, we've seen over 2025. All right, we've seen over the months in 2025 how, even here in the States, they're pushing a lot of, they have this real ID, right? And then now, of course, they're going to be bringing in the CBDCs. It's not something that they've really pushed in America so far. All right, I believe it goes by a different name, something coin. It'll come to me, but they have that going on, which again is the same thing, right? Trump said he didn't want to have no CBDC, but he's doing the same thing, just calling it a different name. All right, so we're going to see what's going to happen with that. But anyway, it says here, let's go to this article here. It says Time Magazine's assessment of the top global risks of 2026 reveals a world accelerating towards systemic instability. Okay, and that's all part of the perplexity among nations. Okay, it says as nations fracture and fear deepens, the world will increasingly demand order at any cost, signaling conditions for the final prophetic alignment described in Scripture. Time Magazine's recent examination of the top 10 global risks in 2026 reads less like speculative futurism and more like a warning flare fired into a darkened sky. Its conclusion is stark. The world is accelerating towards systemic instability on nearly every front. All right, and that's all going to what? War on all fronts, man. That's exactly what is described in the scriptures by many different prophets. That is all described as a time of sorrows. Yahushua talked about that. All right, it's described as a time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, it's described as a time of great tribulation, anguish, pain, suffering, death, famines. Okay, all these things are what we're leading into. And if you got people who come up with, things or themes for every year. And in the year of 2026, this is the kind of theme that they're pushing out there. What should that tell us? It should tell us that the signs that the Lord and all the prophets spoke about in the scriptures that we've been warning about, we're about to live in those days, man. Okay? We're talking about the climax of Jacob's trouble kind of thing, or at least the build up to the climax. Slack here. All right, so let's keep going. It says here, political upheaval, technological dominance, right? Economic coercion, and the weaponization of resources are no longer hypothetical dangers. They are operational realities, already shaping how nations act, how markets move, and how populations are governed. And that's all going into Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all. Okay, when you go to that word causeth, all right, it goes into the Greek word poeo, which means shaping how nations act, how markets move, how populations are governed. All right, they shape this. Again, Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, they've been saying this, right? And their main focus in this whole push is this whole AI thing. That's their God. Okay? It says, for secular analysts, this is a story about risk management. For Christians who take the Bible prophecy seriously, or who take Bible prophecy seriously, like the elect, all right, it is something far more sobering. It is like an alignment. All right, alignment. It says Times assessment paints a picture of a world fraying simultaneously at multiple pressure points. Okay, again, the troubles. All right, multiple pressure points. Okay, governments are weakening or polarizing. Trust in institutions is collapsing. Economic systems are increasingly used as weapons, and emerging technologies are consolidating unprecedented power. Slakia. It says, and emerging technologies are consolidating unprecedented power in the hands of a few. Add to this intensifying wars, cyber conflict, energy insecurity, and looming resource shortages, especially water, and you have a global environment primed not for stability, but for desperation. Okay, and who's behind all this? Of course, ultimately, it's all done to fulfill prophecy, okay, by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, but the actual vessels of which he's using to bring about these prophecies, all right, you look no further than Esau, Edom. Okay, the ones who actually have the power and control over the earth. They have all the resources or power of the resources and control of it. 99% of the world's wealth is controlled by 1% of the world's population. Okay, and those are the ones who dictate, how you're supposed to live your life. And like I said, next week they're going to be holding meetings, which are going to affect how we live in 2026 and beyond, however long we got left here. Okay. It says, and desperation is where dangerous solutions are born. Okay. Problem, reaction, solution. Okay. The problem is created. The desperation is part of the reaction, and they bring in the solution, which is born. It says, right, Scripture has long warned that global chaos would precede the rise of a deceptive world leader. Okay, one who promises peace, order, and security, but delivers bondage and destruction. The book of Revelation does not describe the Antichrist emerging in a world of calm and contentment. Well, the book of Revelation never talks about no Antichrist. All right, there's no Antichrist written in the book of Revelation, but it talks about a beast and a beast system. All right, so that's not a person. It's an emerging of technology, being masqueraded as the savior of humanity. Right. Meanwhile, it's going to be causing everything that's the opposite of saving humanity. Hence, Yahushua said, if you wouldn't have shortened the days, there shall no flesh be saved. Because this devil's about to go wild. Revelation 12 and 12. They know it that they have but a short time. Okay. So for those Christians who believe that there's this Antichrist and they're sitting around waiting, just like you believe in the rapture and it never happened, ain't no such thing as just one person that you're going to see that's going to emerge out of nowhere and he's going to have all this charm and this power and charisma and all. No. Okay. The Antichrist, there are many Antichrists as written in the book of 1 John. That's what you're seeing parading upon the face of the earth right now. Do you ever see Trump and them ever say, let's come together and let's pray? Any of these plans that they're coming up with, does it have the Bible or God of the Bible or Yahushua ever included in that? right? You don't hear none of them talking about that. You don't hear them talking about or singing the praises of the scriptures or the Bible. They don't do that. They're all talking about science and doing all kinds of crazy ass shit. Okay? It says here, Time's conclusion that instability is accelerating on nearly every front echoes the words of Yahushua himself. All right, Matthew 24, verse 6 through 8, right? And we always bring that out. Right, we always bring that out because that was one of the major signs that we were supposed to look out for before the end of this thing, right? Because the disciples asked Yahushua, what are the signs that we should look out for? So those signs is going into what the famines, the pestilences, the earthquakes in diverse places, the wars and rumors of wars, okay? Basically instability all across the globe. That's what you're seeing right now. You got the I believe it was yesterday, Monday, you had a whole bunch of nurses, was it over 15,000 nurses or something like that, protesting or going on a strike, all right? And you know, you have all this whole thing going on, you know, for wages, you know, which is true. I mean, a lot of these nurses are not being taken care of, which is affecting everything. It affects morale, and when it affects morale, they don't give a fuck. When you go to these hospitals, bro, the way they treat you is just like, it's hospitals and nursing and all that. It's lost that spirit. You know, there was a time where you go to a hospital, they actually treated you right. Let me say, it was they would ask you questions that was relevant. It wasn't no scripted robotic shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just standard questions. Nah, they'll ask you things based on how you feeling. You know, doctor's gonna be checking in on you, make sure you're good, whatever the case may be. You know, at least it was 15, 20, 30 years ago. You know, the medical field was better. And the nurses, the doctors, they actually cared, because it was, you go into that field because you actually wanted to be a doctor, right? You have even dentists, right? You have one that's just like, they're passionate about it. They grow up, you know, they might have a family member or their father or their mother or somebody that's a dentist. And then one of the children, or most of them, kind of learn that trade or that skill, you know, and then they just end up becoming dentists because they follow after their footsteps of their father or whatever, you know, and they become very good at it. They'll go to school for it. They do the practicals, you know, they're passionate about it. They know so much about the teeth and yeah. And then once they go into the service, right, and they're in the field of being an actual professional dentist, when you go over there, you get professional treatment because it's a passionate thing. The person actually likes what they're doing. But when you go to these nurses, these hospitals nowadays, they're all like, it's just like, oh man, it's just disgusting. The way they dress, you could tell they're all stressed out. You know, they don't care. It's like there's no life within them. They're just robots there. You go to the front, they say, oh, emergency room. You go over there, you're going to be sitting there for like 3-4 hours before somebody comes see you. And you'd be like, this is an emergency. I wonder what's going on in places that don't say emergency. It's a whole day thing, man. Wasting your time. You know, they tell you, oh, show up at 11 a.m. You show up at 10:45, thinking, you know, you're going to get there a little bit of time, sign those papers they'll have you signing. You're going to be there sitting there till 4 p.m. Then somebody going to pull up and see you, be like, hey, that doctor is almost ready for you. 1 more hour later, now you got, listen, man, this shit, listen, man, stop. All right. So that's causing a whole ripple effect. You know what I'm saying? Then you on top of that, you got this whole AI thing coming in. It's messing up everything for these nurses, man. Their lives are miserable. Okay? So the strike, hey, it is what it is. But you know what? These hospitals, they don't care, man. They're going to use this crisis, this strike as another crisis for them to come up with a new solution, which is more AI incorporation, because that's what it leads to anyway. They want to weed out all you nurses anyway. They want to get rid of all you doctors anyway. Have you heard of something known as One Health? Okay, where everything is all ID, your health, everything is all through AI agents and all this shit, right? You don't got to see no doctor in person no more. You could just let the wearables, right? Like RFK is trying to push with Dr. Oz and them. You have your wearable, and it kind of tells your primary caregiver. That's what they call them now. What type of shit is that? Your primary caregiver, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to be tracking all your vitals, and then it sends them all the information so they could detect, even before you get sick, they could detect it. Oh, your mood changed. You went from happy to sad. What happened? They could detect that. It's like, yo, bro, let's move on, man. It says, what makes this moment unique is not just the presence of chaos, but the infrastructure now forming to manage it. Okay. And like I said about the Davos thing, they are the ones setting up that infrastructure. Okay. You have all these tech giants all coming together, all pushing for the same exact thing, all at the same time. That's not suspicious to people. Like, it don't make you question shit. Like, niggas just be living like, oh, it's okay. Like, yo, man. Oh, man, America's days are numbered. And you Americans, your days are super numbered. You only got more days left. It says, political instability has conditioned the world to accept centralized authority. As nation states struggle to govern fractured populations, which is all design, okay, the appeal of a unifying global figure grows stronger, okay. And again, like that's why Yahushua said, let's get this. There's a book of Matthew chapter 24 verse 24 says, for there shall arise false anointed or false prophets, right, false messiahs, false hamashiachs, right, and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay? If it were possible, that's the key. If it were possible. Because it's not possible. The elect already have their minds, all right, sealed. Okay? The spirit is already sealed in our minds. Like, everything is already sealed, so we're good. In a sense of, oh, we're going to see something that's going to make us think, oh man, wait, but what is this? There is no confusion. If you're of the elect, you're not going to be confused in these days. You know exactly what's going on. You understand it perfectly. Ain't no mixed nothing. Everything is happening exactly as the scripture says. You can't miss it. If you're of the elect, you're not missing nothing. Now, for those who coming up asking all these questions, certain questions people ask, you kind of know where their mind is at. You be like, yeah, this guy here, nah. You know, niggas be asking you questions. You be like, well, bro, like, we are in such a late time of the game. It's like it's like being in the fourth quarter. You got like 2 minutes left in the game, where it's crunch time. The game is close, right? Or you might be down. You trying to make some ground and shit, and you got some dude popping in asking you, well, what are the rules of the game? You be like, yo, wait, hold up, bro. The game about to be over. You out here now pulling up talking about what are the rules of the game? You supposed to know the rules before you pull up over here, man. What are you saying? Right? So a lot of people gonna get caught off guard. All that deception that's about to happen, okay? All the great signs and lying wonders, not all of these, it's all to deceive those who are not of the elect. But the elect, they're not gonna be deceived. Okay? You're not gonna put no AI shit or Project Bluebeam and then we gonna believe it. Like, oh, no. We know what we're expecting. Okay? It says, because remember, Yahushua's return signifies the destruction of America. If Project Bluebeam is happening and I ain't seen no missiles flying, bro, you're not going. Don't talk to me. All right, Project Blue talking about, oh, the Lord is coming back down with the angels, but I ain't seen no missiles hitting no states. Everything is still good. We just watching some cinema shit in the skies. Fuck out of here, bro. Don't play with us. Don't play with us. Don't play with us. Once we see the missiles flying, we know it's game over. All right? We know it's game over. But before then, we got to see that C-hip play out. The C-hip is going to come out. Okay? You got Bitch Nate trying to turn the corner and shit. Apostle Ryan Love have been saying this for years. He said, what? You going to wait to see how these niggas going to try to spin this shit. All the bullshit they've been saying about the MOTB, watch how they going to spin it. Watch how they going to spin it. And lo and behold, it's happening. It's happening. Hey, that's how you know the MOTB is right around the corner. Because they can't even deny it. Now you're talking about CBDCs and digital currencies and programmable da-da-da, and it's on your phone and that's in your right hand. Oh, shit. In your hand. You know what I mean? Ah, shit. And you're going to tell the truth, dude. You're going to say it. All right? So continue. It says, economic crisis play a critical role in this conditioning. Time highlights economic coercion as a risk global as a rising global risk, and we already see how financial systems are used to punish dissenting nations, individuals, and even ideologies. Financial systems used to punish dissenters, right? Individuals and nations, right? How's that? Well, it says Revelation 13 describes a future system. Revelation 13. This is what the article is saying. Revelation 13, just like how the prophets start from our elders and apostles, great men on down, have been saying. Revelation 13 describes a future system in which buying and selling are controlled. Okay, how? Where economic participation itself becomes a tool of obedience. A tool, it's a device of obedience. So by you showing your tool of obedience, you can be either accepted or declined. Look at China. You can be literally blacklisted. You can't go to nowhere. You can't get no train tickets. You can't fly on no planes, right? You can't get no job. You can't send your kids to school. You can't do shit. You're basically ousted out of society. They plaster your face on damn near all the big screens in public spaces. You know what I'm saying? When people see you, they look at, listen, all right? But it's going to be a whole lot worse over here in America. Remember a few years ago, I believe it was like 2017, 18, around there was a lot of Chinese protests going on, right? The yellow jacket protest that was happening in China. What happened to all that, right? What do you think they were protesting? They were protesting their life that they're living right now. Back then, they were saying, we don't want none of this. And boom, they right there. So all this Minneapolis thing going on, all this orchestrated chaos that you're seeing unfolding is all leading to one thing, which is martial law. And through martial law, they're going to start bringing in a whole lot of sweeping measures. There's lockdowns that's coming, okay? All these different things. They said the postal office is getting all these letters talking about, certain things that is going to be happening in case of an emergency or civil unrest or pestilence or whatever. You know what I mean? They are deemed essential workers. It sounds like martial law to me. All right, it sounds like martial law is brewing. Like somewhere around the corner, they about to unleash that shit. Because all this ICE thing is not happening for nothing. Okay, especially now. It says a cashless, digitized, globally integrated economy is no longer futuristic. It is nearly complete. You hear that? And that's exactly what John the Apostle saw, and he described in the book of Revelation 13. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. In this case here, it's talking about a tool of obedience. That's that mark. Okay? Because quite literally, when you go into it, it's charagma. All right, it's a device that's going to be implanted in you at the behest of the government telling you to do that shit. Right? That's where everyone's going. That's the part. That's the part that you need to focus on. And Bishnate and them are coming around. We know why they're coming around, because the 17 part, Revelation 17 part, that's the pivotal part. That's what helps you describe or find out what this device or this mark is all about. You can't just put any old thing in there. He said there's sin in all its various forms, both political and religious. Well, you can't buy and sell with sin though. So that eliminates that concept. That's a stupid thing to say, right? Well, you notice they never jump into that part. They don't go into the words. They're allergic to research, man. It is what it is. All right. It is what it is. It says technology may be the most powerful accelerant of all. Right. Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Let's get that. Not the 2nd chapter. Daniel, the 12th chapter. Let's see if we can get that real quick. There's a book of Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. Right. Meaning what? The understanding of the scriptures. Okay, even to the time of the end. All right, all the way to the end. And the end is when the prophets came on the scene. Okay, starting with Rabbi Abba Bivens. Okay, he started the trend of the prophets waking up in these last days. All right, at the end. Okay, with the true understanding of the scriptures. That's what's changed the whole ball game. All these different denominations of Christianity, all stemming from the Catholic Church, they never had the truth. It isn't until now that they start going into words, and now they want to talk about debating the Hebrew Israelites. Stop it. Ain't no debates. We at the end. We prophesying to tell you what's going on. Stop with the debate shit. All right. It says, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. All right. When you go to that word knowledge, it goes to the word scientia, which means to know. All right. Where you get the word science from. All right. And science always comes with what? Tech. It's called sci-tech. We're living in a sci-tech society. Okay. Science and technology dominates everything in society, no matter what you do. Right? You have a cell phone, that's science and technology right there. You got a TV in your house, whatever. You got a car, all these different things. It's all sci-tech. All right? It's all sci-tech. So that's all part of it. Okay? So it says here, it says, okay, there you go. AI mediated reality, information control, and algorithmic influence shape what people see, believe, and fear. Right? That's all going to what the deceiving, right? The deception, the miracles. Right? Truth becomes malleable, meaning it's changeable. You could twist it, bend it, and so on and so forth. Right? Deception becomes scalable. Okay? We got all these models nowadays. Not even models. These are regular chicks. They go on social media. They could use their cell phones to depict a different version of themselves that the whole world sees and thinks is real. All right, you go on social media, all these chicks that you be seeing and shit, most of them is all fake. All right, it's just a culture. You can't upload a video or a picture of yourself without no filters. You can't just put a raw self picture. Nah. See, that's just standard. These chicks, they have to put some type of filter. Some of these apps, they already come with a filter. Ain't that some shit? Right? So we live in a very deceptive world. It's just by nature, by culture. The culture of America right now, as it stands, is deceptive, straight up. Everyone is trying to deceive you, right? You got corporations, government, they're all doing it. Everyone is doing it. All they do is lie to you, trick you, try to get you to do something that you get caught into some shit, and then you turn around and be like, oh, just so they can charge you some bread. Cops lying to niggas. It's just a corrupt ass system. That's why America's gonna be destroyed. Literally the city of confusion, man. It's just a mad, sickening psych ward, bro. Okay? And the Lord finna torch the inmates because you can't save them. No amount of drugs you're gonna give to these inmates gonna heal them or cure them. All right? All these inmates, once you end up in America, if you're not of the elect, you end up in America, you getting ready to get smoked out. Period. If you're living in America right now and you ain't got no plans to leave anytime soon, shit, you might as well, if you still alive, by then you gonna eat missiles. You gonna eat missiles if you're not of the elect. That's the future of America. Destruction by thermonuclear fire. So if you're still in this land, okay, you gonna eat missiles. You're not getting out. Your government not gonna save you. Trust me. They're not creating no bunkers for the American citizens. They don't give a damn. You got different countries. They saying they doing tests. All right. Back in 2021, they were doing tests, underground bunker tests and all this shit. You know, it's for the citizens to go in there and all that, get ready for war and all this extra. They've been preparing them. Start stocking up with your food and all that. Over here in America, you stock up food. Female gonna come and take your shit. Talking about, you can't be hoarding nothing and blah blah blah, whatever. It's illegal to do that. Rationing. We rationing food. You know what I'm saying? So it's for the greater good. We're going to come take your shit. Everything is backwards in this fucking place, man. It says, it says, Revelation warns of lying signs and wonders. But deception in the modern age does not require miracles. It requires control of information, perception, and digital identity. And that's the war right now. Right, the whole internet war is all about control of information. These devils want complete control of the information that's going in and out. All right, including the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, specifically that, because that's their biggest problem. All that extra talking that's going on, the biggest problem is the truth of the Bible coming out from the prophets of the Lord. That's their biggest threat. That's their biggest threat, 100%. Okay, if we were to all band together and be on some Black Panther shit, they wouldn't care. They would be like, yeah, whatever. They'll infiltrate that, no problem. But the biggest threat to them is the one that they can't control, the one that they don't have any power over, which is the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Same spirit that was back there during the apostles' time, okay, where you had wicked ass niggas, all right, in high places pushing back against the apostles and the work that they were doing. It's always been like that. All right. Anything that comes against a sitting system or threat to the sitting system, they'll try to diminish it. They'll try to annihilate it, exterminate it. But you can't exterminate this work. You can't exterminate this truth. The truth is already wiping everything out, breaking down strongholds as is written. All right. This is the time of the truth to come out. It's game over. Okay. It's game over, man. Your efforts are futile. All right. Let's get that real quick. Yeah, Esau's efforts are futile, and it's beautiful to see. It's like they fighting, but it's not working, you know, and desperation is setting in. 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 27 says, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched." Okay, so all the deceptive shit that you're doing, the truth of the scriptures quenches all that. It quenches all of that. All this fake, made-up reality that you're trying to make people live in, the truth of the scriptures quenches all of that. Okay? It says, as for you talking about shit like a man and man got to be together. Scriptures quenches that shit. Like how? Right? You want to talk about science, but listen to the dumbass shit you pushing on people. It says, as for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. What happens when two opposing sides go against each other? One wins. One of them is always going to win. Okay, the stronger. Okay, the stronger. One people shall be stronger than the other. All right. So the stronger one, which is us, all right. 2 Ezra 6 and 7, 8, and 9, right. The partner sunder of times, right. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay. Esau is the end of the world. Look at all these so-called elites, power hungry niggas. They're all old. They're all at the end of their lives anyway. Rothschild, they already dying. They already been dead. They out of there. Meanwhile, we are now coming in. We are all youthful brothers, youthful men. Look at the apostles. Okay? Youthful in spirit, man. Listen to the kind of shit. Apostle be saying, yo, he doing his workout stuff. Apostle Gobar be doing his walking. You know what I mean? Just to name a few examples, I'd be like, damn, bro. Like, shit, man. What? Damn. That's what's up. You know what I mean? Because we brothers, we work out, and you know what I'm saying? We know what it's like to you know, challenge your body. You know, but the way, I'm like, damn, like, we young, and like hearing that shit, I was like, damn, bro, that's crazy. You know? Say, dude, 300 squats or something like that, 500 squats. You know? We doing the miles walking. Possible bar, we riding bikes. I'll be like, damn, like, like 20 miles. I'm like, damn, 20. You know? Hey, Brock there, Bashimi Oshai. Youthful men, you know, youthful. And when Yahushai comes back, guess what? He's just going to transfer that youthful spirit and put it into a youthful body, man, and just perfect us. All right? Everything's going to be perfected, man. All right? Pastor be going into the tinctures and all these different things to make you healthy, right? Pastor Ramlab goes into that sometimes, right? The health stuff. I remember he was doing his health thing a few years ago, right? So, you know, it's like in this world, in these bodies, you got to go the extra mile just to be normal, just to do, like, just to, you know, survive. You know what I mean? So when the Lord comes back, we're not going to have to do all that. We're going to get perfected bodies, man. We don't got to be, you know, stressing out now. Everything we do is going to be to the health of the body. You know what I'm saying? Life is just going to change. Like, everything is just pushes death. You got to reverse it. You know, you eating food and it's like, oh, it got genetically modified shit. It's like, come on, bro. I got nanoparticles in your food and you don't. Anyway, let's go back to it. 2 Ezra 6. All right, this is all part of the corruption that we're talking about. Okay? It says, as for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. America is all about corruption. And she gonna be overcome. Revelation 18. All right? It says, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And that's what you're seeing. The declaration of the truth is it going throughout all the four corners of the earth, right? All four corners of the earth. And then the end now has come, as Yahushua prophesied. Okay? So yeah, that declaration has happened and the nations have heard it and they're all shook. They're all shook. The whole entire world is shaken because of the words of the prophets known as the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Those that come in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Not no Christ, not no Most High in Christ bless. All right, not no none of that. Got a little bit more, and then I'll close it out. It says right here, it says, a global leader requires a global system, a unified economy, a shared ideological or spiritual framework, and technological tools capable of enforcing compliance. What once seemed impossible now looks inevitable. Ooh. The world is being conditioned step by step for centralized authority, diminished sovereignty, and mass deception. Okay? So yeah, man. But before I close it out, that's pretty much it on that article. All right, but I did mention this Davos thing, right? And I wanted to know what they got going on, right? So it says the World Economic Forum's 56th annual meeting, known as Davos 2026, is taking place from January 19th to the 23rd, right? In Davos, Klosters, Switzerland, under the theme A Spirit of Dialogue. Very interesting, right? A Spirit of Dialogue. It says the event brings together nearly 3,000 leaders from government, business, civil society, science, and culture. It doesn't say people, though. It says leaders. I don't know whatever. Most of these leaders, nobody even knows who they are. Okay? It says, and culture across close to 130 countries, aiming to foster cooperation amid global challenges such as geopolitical fragmentation, technological disruption, and climate change. Key discussion areas include cooperation in a contested world, unlocking new sources of growth, investing in people, deploying innovation responsibly, and building prosperity within planetary boundaries. You hear this jargon? You hear this bullshit they're saying? All that shit don't mean nothing to us. All we want to know is, you going to bring out that C-hip or what? All this talking that they're doing, we don't want to hear none of that shit. Okay? So what we do is, we're going to jump this right here and see. So it says the meeting focuses on 5 key challenges: cooperation in a contested world, unlocking new sources of growth, investing in people, deploying innovation responsibly, especially AI, building prosperity within planetary boundaries. In other words, sustainability. Okay, the whole you own nothing and you be happy shit. But this is how they pitch it: building prosperity within planetary boundaries. Fucking devils, man. So let's read this. Will there be any focus on CBDCs and AI in healthcare during Davos 2026? Yes. AI in healthcare and central bank digital currencies are both expected to be key topics. Okay? So all these nurses protesting, we're telling you, these devils are already planning to get you out of there, get your ass out of there and replace you with robots and shit. And that's the plan. So you can protest all you want, you can strike all you want, you're just going to be out of a job soon. Just like most people right now in America. Jobless, looking for jobs, ain't no jobs. Meanwhile, your president promised you, we're going to do this and you're going to be winning. Golden age. And we told you. Sure, listen to us instead of that nigga. Anyway, it says, so these are topics that are expected, right? To, Davos 2026, aligning with the meeting's focus on responsible innovation and global economic resilience. AI in healthcare. AI in healthcare is a prominent theme with dedicated discussions on ethical deployment. That word ethical. Whenever you see that word ethical, understand they're about to do some diabolical shit. Okay? And we're talking about implantables type diabolical. Okay? It says clinical integration and enterprise scale adoption. The sessions will cover AI-driven clinical decision support and personalized treatment, right? Going into Oracle's whole cancer thing where with AI, they could detect, they'll take samples of your blood and then they could detect if this person is going to be getting cancer at 40 years old and whatever. And then they can also use that information to pair with your family, maybe your children's DNA as well. And they could tell them, what your child's percentages of what kind of disease they could get later down the line, so they can start preparing them ahead of time by giving them some cancer preventative drugs, that bullshit. You know what I mean? That's a multi-billion-dollar industry right there, which is all going to what? Data collection, data harvesting, data mining. Okay? Dataism. Yeah, it's a lot, man. When you're dealing with these devils, they complicate so much shit. Just get to the chip already. All right? It says ambient AI for reducing clinician documentation burden. Nurses are saying we need work more like we want to work back to how things were. You doing all this AI shit with the excuse of, oh, it's burdening everybody. No, you bringing AI is what's burdening everybody. Not bringing in AI to say it's going to relieve the burden. They're not asking for that. They said pay them more. Damn. It says regulatory frameworks and trust in AI. Real world case studies from health systems scaling AI. Healthcare leaders and organizations like Kaiser Permanent, UCLA Health, and Roche are participating, emphasizing value-based models and brain health innovation. Now, this is the key I want to go into. CBDCs, right? Central bank digital currencies are part of broader conversations on digital finance, economic stability, and fintech innovations. Right? Fintech is financial tech, right? Financial technology going into what? Again, the you know what, right? To buy and sell, you're going to have that. It says, while no standalone session is confirmed, the topic is expected to feature in discussions on the future of money and cross-border payments, regulatory challenges and financial inclusion, risks and benefits of programmable digital currencies. All right, and you know who's going to be there at Davos? We're going to be expecting to see Christine Lagarde. And I'm starting to think that's a nigga. All right, I'm starting to think that's a nigga, but we'll see. Right, so the future of money and cross-border payments, they're going to be discussing that next week. All right, risks and benefits of programmable digital currencies, they're going to be talking about that shit. And expect Lagarde to pop up and say, look, this is greater for all of us. All right, by this year, they're saying that all, if not most European countries, right? Most, if not all European countries will have to have the CBDC in place. Okay, so they're working on the legalities right now. Once it's done, they want to put that shit in place. And that's going to directly affect America's economy. See? So America is also doing it on this side, but they're not calling it CBDCs. All right? They call it something coin. It's right there, but it's not there. You know what I mean? But it's something coin. Not gold coin. Something. Is it gold coin? No, it's not gold coin. Something. Anyway, it says the WEF has previously highlighted that 98% of central banks are exploring CBDCs, and Davos 2026 will likely address progress, interoperability, and post-quantum security of digital currency systems. Okay? So yeah, man, don't let them trick you with this is going to be good for your anonymity. You know what I'm saying? Your neighbor's not going to know what you're going to be doing with your CBDCs. You know what I'm saying? So you have privacy there. Motherfucker, I don't care if my neighbor knows what I'm using my money for, man. I do care, however, of who is able to watch what I'm using my money for and control it and tell me I can and cannot use it for nothing. You niggas, you are the ones who we're worried about. Not my next door neighbor. What the hell what they gonna do? My next door neighbor don't know nothing about my account. They don't know nothing about that. So that argument is flawed as shit, but they're gonna push it. All right, tacky salesman, they're gonna push it. Okay, but yeah, I just wanted to highlight these things here. All right, that this is what's going on. All right, so you could say that this whole protesting that's going on around the states and this Minneapolis thing might be a distraction. You know, these things always come up randomly out of nowhere. It seems like it just sparks fire, and then it just takes over from there. And then through that, they got all these different changes, and everybody's popping up, and it's being talked around the world. You got this dude, the nigga that plays the Hulk in the Avengers and shit. You know, I forget his name, but he's talking about, I can't pretend like ain't nothing going on, and I'm sad to see these things, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, listen, bro. Everywhere, everything is becoming politicized. Okay, you want people to get involved? Politicize it. Anything you want to talk about, just politicize it. Everybody's gonna get involved, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So just keep watching. All right. But most importantly, pray. All right. Keep praying. Keep praying, keep praying, keep praying. Pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because the days that we're living in are evil. And just pray for protection, pray for guidance, pray for the Lord to give you that insight and the foresight. All right. Just see it. See, even if you could see a day ahead, right? You see things a day ahead, you could plan a day ahead. That'll prevent a whole bunch of shit that could save you months of headaches. All right. So let's pray that the Lord protect us. All right. Because Esau is not, he's pulling on all his strings, man. All right. He's pulling on all his strings, and ultimately they're boxing everybody in. Okay, so they can come after the elect. So, just keep praying, right? And we pray how Bashem Yahushua hold us through, okay? And he will, as he said, all right? He'll keep us in the hour of temptation. So, anyway, I will leave it off there, Lord. You were edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rachak, Kodesh, the Wadi Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua. Until next time, Shalom.